What makes someone truly one of a kind? Is it talent, legacy, or the courage to defy an entire system built against you? Because if that's the case, then there will never, ever be another Lewis Hamilton.
That was mega.
Lewis wasn't born in Monaco. He wasn't the son of a billionaire or a famous racer. He was just a kid from Stevenage, a grey working-class town, miles away from the glitz of Formula One. Lewis Hamilton's journey didn't begin with roaring engines or high-tech simulators. It began with a remote-controlled car, a Christmas gift from his father, Anthony Hamilton. What started as a toy turned into destiny. Lewis would outdrive adults in RC competitions, stunning people twice his age. Anthony saw it, that spark, that obsession with speed, and made a promise to his son, "I'll make your dream come true." But promises like that don't come easy. Racing was brutally expensive. So Anthony worked 4 jobs. IT contractor by day, dishwasher by night. Every paycheck went into karting fees, spare parts, and fuel. Their weekends weren't vacations. They were battles for survival on the track. While the privileged kids rolled in with new engines and team uniforms, Lewis showed up with second-hand gear and raw grit. And still, he won. Over and over again. At just 10 years old, he approached McLaren boss Ron Dennis at an awards ceremony and said, "Hi, I'm Lewis Hamilton. I want to race for your team one day." Dennis smiled and replied, "Call me in 9 years. We'll sort something out." But destiny didn't wait 9 years. 3 years later, McLaren called him back. Lewis became the youngest driver ever signed to a Formula One development program. It was unheard of. No one who looked like him had ever been given that chance. Fast forward to 2007, McLaren. Formula One, the big stage. Hamilton was a rookie, but his teammate was no rookie. He was Fernando Alonso, a 2-time world champion. Everyone thought Lewis would play the humble apprentice. But the moment the lights went out, that changed. 3rd in his debut. 2nd in his second race. Another second, then a win. 6 races in, he was leading the championship. He was fearless, clinical, and faster than anyone expected. But his success came at a cost. Alonso didn't like being beaten by a rookie, and McLaren's garage turned into a civil war. By the end of the season, Hamilton missed the championship by 1 point. But it wasn't defeat. It was a warning shot to the world. This wasn't a lucky rookie. This was the future. The next season was Hamilton's revenge tour. He didn't care about politics or pressure. He wanted one thing, the title. He won in Australia. He dominated Monaco. He destroyed the field in a soaking wet Silverstone, lapping nearly everyone. The championship came down to the final lap of the final race in Brazil. Felipe Massa crossed the line first. For 38 seconds, Brazil celebrated. Then, in the last corner, Hamilton overtook Timo Glock to secure just enough points. He was the world champion, the youngest ever at the time, the first black driver to win the Formula One World Championship. He had done it. He had broken every barrier. But if you thought that was the end of his story, it was only the beginning. After 2008, things started to fall apart. McLaren's cars couldn't keep up. Politics crept in, and off-track, Lewis started to change. He was becoming famous, not just as a racer, but as a celebrity. He loved music, fashion, style. He wasn't just living the life of a driver, he was living as an artist. Critics tore him apart. Too distracted. Too Hollywood. He's lost focus. But Lewis never wanted to be just another Formula One driver. He wanted to be Lewis Hamilton, and that's when he made the boldest move of his career. In 2012, Hamilton walked away from McLaren, the team that had raised him, to join Mercedes. People said he was mad. Mercedes had won 1 race in 3 years. But Hamilton saw something no one else did, a storm brewing under the surface. Mercedes was building something big, a hybrid engine revolution. And in 2014, that revolution exploded. Hamilton didn't just win, he dominated. Pole positions, victories, championships. It wasn't even close. His only real rival was Nico Rosberg, his childhood teammate turned enemy. Their relationship collapsed into chaos, crashes in Spa, fights in the paddock, silent garages. The rivalry became legendary, and Hamilton emerged stronger. He won in 2014, he won again in 2015. He tied his idol, Ayrton Senna, with 3 titles. By now, Hamilton wasn't just a racer. He was a brand, a movement, and a symbol. Then came 2016, Rosberg's revenge. The two collided again and again. Spain, Austria. By the final race in Abu Dhabi, tensions hit their peak. Hamilton did everything, even slowed down to block Rosberg's rivals, but it wasn't enough. Rosberg won the championship and then retired days later. It stunned the world. But Hamilton, he wasn't done. From 2017 onwards, there was no one left to stop him. He conquered again and again. 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. He reached 7 world championships, tying Michael Schumacher's all-time record. But Hamilton's true greatness wasn't just in the wins, it was in what he stood for. Lewis Hamilton didn't just race, he spoke up. In a sport built on silence and status, he challenged the system. He used his platform to talk about climate change, racial equality, mental health, and diversity. In 2020, when George Floyd was murdered, Hamilton didn't stay quiet. He led Formula One's stand against racism, kneeling before races, wearing shirts demanding justice, and forcing the sport to confront its own elitism. Then he took it further. He created the Hamilton Commission, researching why black representation in motorsport was so low. He launched programs to open opportunities for underrepresented talent in engineering, mechanics, and design. And with Mercedes, he built Accelerate 25, a plan to ensure 25% of new hires came from diverse backgrounds. He wasn't just breaking lap records, he was breaking barriers. And off track, Hamilton became a fashion icon. Collaborations with Tommy Hilfiger, appearances at Paris Fashion Week and the Met Gala. He blurred the line between athlete and artist, and did it fearlessly. People said, he's too flashy. But Hamilton didn't care, because while others drove for approval, he drove for authenticity, and that's why millions connected with him. The 2021 Formula One season was one for the ages. Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, 2 titans on a collision course. Experience versus youth, legacy versus hunger. The season finale in Abu Dhabi wasn't just a race. It was history in motion. Hamilton led for 57 laps. The 8th world title was his. But then came the moment that stunned the world. A late crash triggered a safety car. Race director Michael Massey made an unprecedented and highly controversial decision to let only certain cars unlap themselves, leaving Verstappen right behind Hamilton on fresh tyres. 1 lap, 1 overtake, 1 stolen dream. Hamilton lost the race and the title. It was heartbreak. It was injustice. And for weeks, he said nothing. People wondered, would he ever come back? But of course he did. 2022 and 2023 were tough. Mercedes wasn't competitive, the wins stopped. But the fire inside Hamilton never died. Then came the shock of 2024. Hamilton announced he was leaving the Silver Arrows for Ferrari. At 40 years old, he was ready to start again, to take on the ultimate challenge and bring Ferrari back to glory. People doubted him again. They said he was done, but he never raced for their approval. He raced for purpose. Slowly, the tide began to turn. Ferrari podiums returned. Fans felt hope again. The legend of Hamilton grew even larger. And yes, Formula One has seen legends before. Schumacher, Senna, Fangio, but none like Lewis Hamilton. He wasn't born into privilege, and he wasn't handed success. He built it. He fought racism, classism, and criticism, all while rewriting the record books. He became more than a driver, a symbol of resilience, a voice for change, a global icon. Whether he ever wins that elusive 8th title doesn't matter anymore, because his greatest victory was becoming himself. So will there ever be another Lewis Hamilton? No, because there can only ever be one man who changed Formula One forever. Not just on the track, but beyond it. He didn't just drive in Formula One, he drove Formula One forward. If you love videos like this, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell, and join us as we dive into the legends that shaped the sport we love.